It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey guys, what's up? You're watching Up and Adam. My name's Adam Noel. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm the guy bringing you guys all the weekly interviews and recaps from your favorite celebrities and pop culture influencers. But for those of you who do know me, you know that that's not why we're always here, right? Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because you guys don't want to miss anything we have coming up. And with that being said, let's jump right in. Okay, guys, so you know how this works. I mean, honestly, we've been covering it for quite some time now. We are back to talk about Erika Girardi, Erika Chahoy, whatever you want to actually call her, but her and her husband, their divorce, and the many Girardi cases that are on file as of today. Guys, ever since November when this divorce was filed, it seems like every single, well, I'll say every other day just to make it seem like it's more realistic, new hot topics are coming out. And hot topics, not even in a good way. Hot topics meaning like families are coming forward, families who have lost out on millions of dollars due to horrific tragedies and incidences where they were expecting Erika's soon-to-be ex-husband, Mr. Girardi, to actually cover their ASS's and get money back that would be rightfully theirs. Obviously, we don't expect to suffer these tragedies, whether it's a plane crash, an earthquake, a boat crash, a fire explosion with a pipe burning or something like that. We don't expect these. So God forbid when they happen, settlements are there. They're put in place in order to not make things better, but to sort of offset the situation. So if you were in this horrific accident and you may not be able to work anymore, maybe this $5 million might help ease that for you. But it's not going to turn things around, and it's definitely not going to make things 100% better, right? However, some of these victims who went through these horrific situations and incidences, they won these settlements. They won these settlements because they had a high power attorney who could really do it all. If he said it, he would deliver, and he made millions and millions of dollars. He honestly helped so many victims win these cases, win these massive settlements that they were rightfully owed. However, the big problem is that they weren't actually paid what they won. Well, at least not all of them. That's the biggest question here within the Girardi cases and the alleged embezzlement fraud cases. I mean, again, there are so many that are going on, but there has been some new information now, and that would be the simple fact that what they're saying is Mr. Girardi, who at one point was worth over $250 million, allegedly the net worth. And again, I thought it was 80 million. So 250 is like over my head. And not to mention $250 million. How do you go from $250 million to zero? Does anybody know how that works? Because that would be one hell of a magic trick. However, I've seen some crazier things done, so I'm not going to say anything about it. However, as these cases go on and more information comes out, of course, now there's so much that's already been dug up that people, fans, Bravo super fans, and people who are in the legal field, they are going to continue to keep digging to see just how dirty this gets. Now, with that being said, they have done a little bit of digging, and they found out how Mr. Girardi actually allocated a few $1 million of his money in order to, well, what they're calling it is remain an apparent influencer. Let me just explain what I'm talking about. So guys, on March 6th, Tom Girardi was listed as apparently being worth over $250 million at one time by the Los Angeles Times. And then it was also said that his family and his firm donated over $7 million plus to politicians over time. But why? Why would you donate this much money, and what exactly does that mean? Again, let's continue to dive in. What they're saying is that the $7.3 million that was allegedly divvied out to different politicians over some time, they were given with favors to be paid back, whether it was appearances on radio shows, alleged backroom deals to help his firm out, or even aiding in judicial appointments. Allegedly, it sounds like this money went a long way. I hate to say that, but again, I'm not alluding to anything that everyone's not already talking about. The real fact is here is we actually want to know facts. We want to know what's going on, not sit here and speculate or assume. I don't want to assume that the Girardis are bad people. I don't want to assume anyone is stealing millions of dollars and redivvying it out for their own selfish purposes, but courts will prove what is wrong and what is right, and we will find out exactly how deep this goes eventually. I mean, it's all going to come to a head, right? Now, a lot of fans and super fans, people who are ripping this apart, again, I know I keep saying that, but they're ripping apart everything that Erika Girardi has said over the past few years. Now, she has said in a previous Housewives episode that her husband doesn't really like to buy her jewelry or certain things that other wives get. He likes to buy her art. Now, as soon as she said that, fans were coming out and they're like, oh my gosh, this could be a form of money laundering. This could be and people were really just starting to rip it apart as if her husband might not actually just want to buy her art to say happy anniversary. But people are like, no, there's no way. Again, this is all speculation. However, moving forward, there was another moment, well, two more moments I just want to talk about that Erika spoke out too soon. And she also said on an episode of Watch What Happens Live, when Andy Cohen asked her about a prenup in her marriage, she said, what is the point of a prenup? She said her husband is such a high-powered attorney that he would literally look at the piece of paper, rip it apart, and eviscerate her in court. So she's went on to make these two sort of claims, right? And now, oddly enough, she had a memoir that came out in 2018 where she decided to share more. She decided to let us know how she sits down at certain charity functions, events, and she rubs elbows with the top of the politicians, whether they're senators, Congress people, whoever they are, she's rubbing elbows with them. But why? And also, is that letting us know too much? It actually might have. Erika said we would have drinks with the U.S. senator and she would confide in us the problems that she's having with the other senators. She said that they would talk about the current administration and that for Erika and her husband, these were all great experiences. Okay. Now, of course, more information has come out while other politicians and high-powered individuals have spoken out about Mr. Girardi, one of them being Attorney General Bill Lockyer, who Mr. Girardi has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for, and they've had a close-knit relationship. But it seems like over time, Mr. Girardi asked for a few favors that the Attorney General was not willing to do. One of them being the fact that Mr. Girardi wanted the Attorney General to allow him resolve when it came to government antitrust claims when it came to Sempra Energy and a private investigation. Not only that, but Hewlett-Packard chair Patricia Dunn was being investigated, and Mr. Girardi also went to the Attorney General and asked him not to really pursue her, to in fact go after somebody who's lower level and leave her alone. But the Attorney General was like, what about justice? After that, it sounds like what they're saying is that Mr. Girardi wrote a letter saying, do not talk to me ever again, that he wants nothing to do with the Attorney General. So it seems like after allegedly divvying out hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of dollars, and asking for few said favors when they weren't being reciprocated and the favors weren't being done, Mr. Girardi wiped his hands clean, again, allegedly, right? Just to be fair, though, guys, when it comes to influencing what's going on, Mr. Girardi does not really hold back from sharing. He actually had a memoir himself, not just his beautiful soon-to-be ex-wife, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Erika Girardi, not the Pretty Mess memoir, but Mr. Girardi had one too, and it was called May It Please the Court, where Mr. Girardi said, I make no bones about influencing judicial appointments. He said, awful, you say? Unethical? Well, who better to recommend a man for the bench than someone who will be in the courtroom with them every single day? I mean, honestly, I'm not a lawyer. I don't really know. From what he's saying, that actually kind of sounds like it makes sense, but I don't know the ins and outs of what it takes to appoint certain judges and who should be involved and who shouldn't. So from what he says, as an outsider, not really knowing the system, yeah, I could get that. But if there's systems in place to make sure that lawyers and judges don't have certain relationships in order to favor certain cases, then yeah, I kind of get that as well. So I'm divided. Also, guys, in 2019, Governor Gavin Newsom of California revealed that the advisors who helped the governor select the judges And on the panel was in Thomas's name. And that's not it, guys. There was one other attorney, Terrence Mix, who back in 2013 came out and publicly called out Mr. Girardi for having so much power and influencing some of these different political standpoints and views and some of the different systems that are going on within the courts, to the point that there was one judge who actually revered him, which is a huge deal. Again, that should not be happening. But I'm so curious what you guys think. I mean, obviously, we know this is going to play out on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but to what extent and who's really going to be involved? We know that Erika Girardi is willing and I honestly set to explain a lot of her divorce on this upcoming season of the Beverly Hills Housewives. Garcelle has already confirmed that. Lisa Rinna has confirmed that. And they confirmed that she was a lot more open and forthcoming than what they expected. However, guys, don't get too excited because the Mr. Girardi cases, these Girardi cases and alleged embezzlement fraud cases, he didn't sign a contract for Beverly Hills Housewives. He does not have to come on the show and talk about it. So if we're going to hear about those, it's probably going to be from a blogger on YouTube, from some sort of blogging site. It's going to be something like that until eventually it's made into a Lifetime movie or a Netflix docuseries or something like that. But in the meantime, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You know that he didn't sign up for it, so it's probably not going to be on the forefront of what we're watching on Bravo TV. However, the truth will prevail and it will come out. Guys, I'm so curious what you're excited to hear about most. Also, what do you feel about the Erika Girardi, Tom Girardi cases? Are you over it at this point? Is it too much information? Do you guys want to continue hearing what's going to happen? I want to know. And don't forget, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is set to premiere this spring. I always say this, but for me, spring is like now. I feel like if we get to May or June and it's still not out, then at that point, then you might as well say that Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is set to premiere this summer. With that being said, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell because it's so important that you guys don't miss anything we have coming up. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Check us out every Monday and Wednesday. Thanks for watching Up and Adam.